Everyone, let's get started. You guys hear me all right? Mike's good? All right, cool. My name's Gino. I'm a product manager on Teams platform. Here today with my colleague Vikram, and we're going to walk you through how to build collaborative agents for Microsoft Teams using all the latest tools and capabilities on our platform. So we have a pretty packed agenda today. We're going to cover a lot. We're going to do our best to keep this within time. If not, we will be out in the hall kind of floating around afterwards if you guys want to talk to us. So we're going to start by talking about the evolution of agents. Where are we coming from? Where are we going with agents, collaborative agents specifically? We're going to take a look at the Teams AI library, all the new capabilities that we've been working on in this library. We have some code and some partner demos ready for you guys. And then last, we'll leave you with some resources so you guys can hit the ground running. Everything you see today, we will capture it all. We got some links you could take pictures of at the end of this. But we're going to start by talking about the evolution of collaborative agents. So back in 2017 is when Teams launched support for agents. It was chatbots, really. And these were those rule-based bots. They needed explicit commands to kick off actions. You guys are probably familiar with these. They're useful, but they're limited compared to what we can do today and not very user-friendly. Sometimes they're considered more of a power user experience because they're so explicit in commands. Despite this, we still have over 50 million people using these monthly in Teams today, so they're very much used. Now let's fast forward to the summer of 2022. This is when the game kind of changed. This is when large language models hit the market. Suddenly, these chatbots could support implicit command execution. They could infer meaning from our words, map that meaning over to action, and it really changed the whole interaction model for users, making things a lot easier to use. We saw a wave of new products hit the market. This is when we saw like Copilot, ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini. I feel like there's a new product every month. And then at the same time, we saw a rebrand in the market. So no one really calls them chatbots anymore. They started rebranding it to AI assistants. This is a more inviting term, kind of reflective of that intuitive interaction model. Just talk to these like they're your assistants. That makes sense, right? Now, we're still largely in this phase of these AI assistants. This is kind of where we are today, but things are quickly changing. We see a new phase on the horizon of this evolution. We see all these new capabilities coming in. Just in the past 2 days, I've been blown away listening to the keynotes of all the new features and capabilities with agentic memory, multi-agent orchestration. So things are changing, and we see things kind of shifting towards virtual agents. No longer do agents need to work in isolation for personal productivity. We're seeing a future where they can work together with other people, other agents. They can share tasks. They're acting truly like members of your team. This is a shift from single-player AI that makes you more productive to multiplayer AI that can make your organization more productive, your team more productive, and there's a lot of really exciting opportunities opening up. So for these agents to live up to the term virtual teammate, it's a big title. They need to kind of raise the bar a little bit. We need them to meet some core expectations of what we would expect from our team members. First off, they need to be collaborative. I need to be able to send these agents messages. They need to be able to contribute in a group chat. I want them to talk on meetings. I should be able to give them a call. All of these types of conversations they need to support. Once they're in these new conversation types, they need to be context aware. They need to know what are we talking about in this chat right now? What's going on in this meeting that I was just added to? And then for them to meaningfully contribute to these forums, they need to have their own knowledge. They need to bring their own expertise to the table. This could be knowledge maybe pulled from the model. It was fine-tuned right into the model itself. Or maybe this is knowledge being pulled from external systems you have using techniques like RAG. Or something that I find more exciting is maybe it's knowledge being pulled from memories that are being built up over time. That's another place they could work out. But so you need knowledge. And then lastly, they need to do more than just react to us when invoked. We need these agents to start proactively contributing to our work. And if they do these things, they really do start to fit that mold of they are a teammate. Now, the idea of agents acting as virtual teammates is still new and emerging, but it's quickly moving from like concept to reality. These agents can now do more than just act as tools. They can be active contributors to our collaboration, our productivity, decision-making at work. And it's not really just us saying this. We hear a lot of other companies kind of moving in this direction as well. According to Microsoft's latest Work Trend Index we published this past February, 80% of leaders say they expect to see their employees working with AI, not just using it, working with AI to start delegating tasks to it like they would a member of their team. Now, why is this happening? Why are leaders moving in this direction? Well, AI is kind of increasing the pressure on all of these organizations right now. And 60% of leaders are saying that they already feel behind on innovation in this new era of AI. And 2/3 are saying they're no longer going to hire employees who aren't either using AI tools or have AI skills. That's what they're looking for. So it's clear that like the demand on these organizations is rising, the bar for productivity is rising, and organizations are looking for solutions to help them scale and meet this demand. Now, this is where Microsoft Teams comes in. So Teams is already the place where people work. It's where over 320 million people on the daily are talking, collaborating, making decisions, pushing projects forward. So naturally, this is where we believe agents will fit in. This is where they're going to work, where they're going to collaborate as well. And we're building this vision right into the foundation of Teams. So we've been working to treat these agents as first-class citizens in our platform. By doing so, we get to give them all the benefits that a regular teammate would get. So they can start adding they could contribute to conversations, we could add them on meetings, they can surface insights in calls. And it's opening up a ton of new possibilities for us. And so the way we work is evolving right in front of our eyes. And our role as a platform team is to equip our developers, our customers with the tools to shape and build this future. Now, before we go any further, I want to give you guys an example, a real-world example to kind of ground all this. An agent my team is using every day. So we have an agent, it's called Athena. This was actually built in a hackathon last fall by a small team of engineers, and it was a DevOps agent. It is a DevOps agent, and it was designed to help our engineering team manage their PR lifecycle. So it was the expert on PR lifecycle. We connected it with ADO. That's where we at Microsoft have most of our code today. So it's an Azure DevOps, and that gives it context of our code, our commits, our builds, whole CI/CD pipeline. And although this was built for our team, we've been seeing it organically growing beyond our team. So we've had partner teams reach out. They requested access. We now have SharePoint engineers using Athena, OneDrive engineers using Athena. And this is all pretty organic growth. And as of earlier today, when I checked our telemetry, we have over 5,000 Microsoft engineers using this agent that we built for ourselves, originally in a hackathon. I'm going to play a video now to show what it looks like for Athena to work with our engineering team to fix a bug.
Let's jump right in and see how the Athena agent helps accelerate developer productivity. 𝗲𝗀𝗀𝗀 spots a bug and shares it with the team. Gino quickly checks if it's already been reported. Athena lets him know there's nothing logged, so he starts creating a new bug right from the chat. Using adaptive cards, Athena makes the experience collaborative. 𝗲𝗀𝗀𝗀, as the reporter, can jump in to add details. Anyone in the chat can contribute directly. Athena even pre-fills known info, like the area path from memory. Gino activates the bug so the dev team knows to take action. Athena understands natural language, even with typos like a missing space in Gino's message. Athena will activate the bug and post into the chat. Once developers are looped in, Gabriel pushes a fix with a pull request and asks Athena to track it. Athena kicks off tracking instantly and notifies the chat if the PR build fails. No context switching needed. Gabriel resolves the build error, and Athena updates the chat that the PR is ready to merge. Gabriel merges the fix, and Gino can now close the loop by resolving the bug. He asks Athena to show any bugs created by 𝗲𝗀𝗀𝗀, then updates the status, all within the chat. Athena stays context-aware and understands Gino's follow-ups without needing extra clarification. 𝗲𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 can see every step play out in real time. The next day, she's headed into stand-up and asks how far the fix has made it. With commit tracking set up on the repo, Athena automatically picks up the fix once it's merged. Gabriel uses Athena to start tracking his commit, and just like that, the chat is updated with real-time deployment progress. No more refreshing dashboards or switching tabs. Thanks to Athena, everyone in the chat stays in the loop as the deployment moves forward. From bug report to production fix, the entire engineering lifecycle happens right here in Teams, where your conversations and your people already are.
All right, so as I said, this was launched earlier this year. We launched it in January. It was a hackathon project last fall, so it's still relatively new. But since the beginning of this year, we've been seeing 35% growth month over month of adoption of this agent in Microsoft. And this is totally by word of mouth. We're not marketing it. We're not requiring engineers to use this by any means. It's just organic growth, and that's a strong indicator for us that this model of collaborative agents is resonating with our engineers. They see value in it. They want to use it. More impressively for us is that by proactively keeping engineers aware of these key moments in their PR lifecycle, and by giving them a heads up before their builds expire, engineers using 𝗦𝗲𝗀 today are closing their PRs 52% faster and encountering 60% less build failures when compared to engineers not using 𝗦𝗀𝗀. I think those numbers are kind of wild, but take that in. So 52% faster PR completion, 60% less build failures. And this is just an agent that we built at a hackathon originally and been slowly iterating on for the past few months. So in other words, this agent is making our engineers quantifiably more productive. And that's what I think we all want. That's why most of us are here today. We want to leverage AI in our organizations to make us more productive. And this is one example of how we are doing it at Microsoft. At least my team is. Now, as I said, 𝗦𝗀𝗀 was built for us. It's not really in the store. The engineers told me to say yet. They wanted me to give that disclaimer because they hope to get it there one day. But it's not today, but we do have a lot of partners building really great collaborative agents that are in our store. And Vikram's going to walk through some demos of that later in this session. But before we go there, I want to talk about what it takes to build one of these agents. Let's walk through the process. You're going to learn about a few ways to build agents this week. I'm sure you already have covered a few in the last 2 days. But if you're looking to build a collaborative agent, something that really acts like a virtual teammate, Teams AI Library is what you're going to want to use. This is the easiest way to do it. We recently launched a new version, 2.0, and this makes everything way easier to do. You can build an agent in just a couple lines of code now. I'm going to switch over to VS Code now. I want to show you how easy it is to get started. When you start these projects, to me, one of the most overwhelming things at first is how do I get the environment set up? How do I just get a basic agent going, water through the pipes kind of scenario? So we're going to start there. And then later throughout this session, Vikram's going to show how we start enabling new capabilities to this agent and build it up from there. All right, so let me switch over. OK. All right, here I am in my environment. So this is just a fresh instance. This is a code space, but it's VS Code. So I'm going to just first install the Teams AI library. Looking for typos. Nope, we're good. OK, so this is going to install the Teams CLI, and the Teams AI library comes with this. OK, so that's good. Now I'm going to create my new project. So Teams, new. I'm going to do this in TypeScript. And then I'm going to call it build agent. And now instead of starting from scratch, we have a lot of templates you can pull from and start from there. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to pull from a template, echo template. OK, so my project's just been created. Here it is. Now let me start the install of this. And we'll walk through it a little more. Oh, that doesn't look good. Oh, got to change directories first. Figured it out. All right. OK, let's let that install. So let's take a look at this. So here, what you have, we just pulled from this template. You have in here your manifest. This is everything you need to publish to our store. This is basically everything in the app and the identifiers about it. You can put prompts in here, different things. But what we want to look at is the code. This is the agent. So this is this echo agent that we pulled. This is a very simple echo scenario where whatever you type to this agent will just repeat back. But just that alone that we can run, like this is an agent. And it's 1, 2, 3, 4, like less than 10 lines of code. This is a functional agent. And we're going to take a look at that now. So now that it's installed, I'm going to run it. We have a dev tool that comes with this. So run dev. Great. Oh, dev tools, plural. All right. OK, so now we have our environment. This is a functioning agent now. So whatever I say, hello build, it will just respond back. So this is the event over here in the code. You can see this is where the message is received, the message event. This is where you would probably, you'd want to inject your LLM, reason over whatever is being sent here, and you can respond however you'd like. Vikram's going to walk through more of this in later slides, but let's go back to the presentation. So that, what we just walked through was just a very basic example, getting my environment set up, testing something out. Now, if you want to make this a collaborative agent that works with your teams, there's other components you're going to want to consider, obviously. The first one is user experience. How are users going to interact with this agent? You want your agent to have skills and capabilities to contribute to the team. You're going to want it to have knowledge to ground its reasoning and its decisions in. And last, you want your agent built on the foundational models that best suit your scenarios, whatever those are. So we're going to begin with the user experience. So to build an agent that seamlessly integrates into your organization, you're going to want it to be obviously very user-friendly, intuitive for your organization. Just by hosting it in Teams, you're going to get a lot of UX for free. You do not have to worry about building a conversational interface. You don't have to worry about the meeting experience. You get that for free. It all comes from the Teams UX framework. So you really just have to focus on your business logic. Now, what you do need to focus on with the UX is going to be things like, what's the first run experience? What are the prompts you want to suggest to users to help them hit the ground running? What kind of content will get sent through your agent? And in this past year, we have made a ton of improvements. We shipped a lot of new features to just really power up these agents, making everything even more intuitive for our users, treating them even more like any other teammate would. So they provide a much more seamless experience. I'm going to walk through a scenario now where we're going to use an agent to help me manage my backlog. So end of the sprint's coming up. We have work items that are, I don't know if everything's completed. I want to see how are we tracking towards the end of the sprint. And we're going to assign some work to some team members who have capacity, and then we're going to close the loop with them in a meeting. And we're going to do this. I'll show off all the new UX we have. So this is what you would see if you built an agent in Teams today. So here I am in my dream team chat. This is my group chat with my team, and we use the 𝗦𝗲𝗀 agent to track all of our work. This is our backlog management expert, and it's responsible for helping us with getting all of our things done in time for this sprint. The sprint ends in a week, like I said, and I want to make sure the team's on track to complete all of our work. So first thing I want to do is I want to add 𝗦𝗲𝗀 to this conversation. I'm going to go up to the roster in the top right. This is where I would add people. And you can see there's a couple people here. There's an agent, facilitator. 𝗦𝗲𝗀's not here. I want to add that. I'm going to go on Add Agents and Bots. Here's our in-context store. I'm going to add 𝗦𝗲𝗀, and it gets added to the chat just like a user would. You can see here it's at the bottom. It says Daniela added 𝗦𝗲𝗀. Underneath, you can see some prompt starters. These are just some prompt suggestions developers specified in their manifest. But I don't need to use those. I know how to use 𝗦𝗲𝗀, so I'm just going to @mention it like I would any other team member and say, what tasks still need to be completed this sprint? 𝗦𝗲𝗀's going to start working on that. It's going to say, who is in this chat right now? Then cross-reference that with what work do we have this sprint, what's outstanding, and it's going to come back with this list. It'll say there's 4 outstanding tasks to be completed in this sprint. You can see those listed there. For each one of these, you can hover over and see a citation. Developers can now include citations in their responses, and this is an adaptive card. So I can get a deeper view into each one of these items and take actions on it if I want. Another feature we launched this past year is we call it the feedback loop. So developers can choose to include these thumbs up, thumbs down in every one of their messages. This lets your users send you signals directly so you can see if your agents are working as you expect them to, and you can iterate on that feedback. So now it says at the bottom that there's 1 task currently assigned. So we have work that doesn't seem to be on track to get finished this sprint. I want to get this assigned. First thing I'm going to do is I need to figure out who has capacity this sprint. I'm not going to do that in my group chat and scare everyone that I'm going to assign work to them. Instead, I'm going to go over to this one-on-one chat with 𝗦𝗲𝗀. And from here, I'm just going to ask, who has bandwidth on my team to take on this task? 𝗦𝗲𝗀's going to start looking through all the tickets and see who has bandwidth on my team. It'll come back that 𝗦𝗀 has a couple items assigned to her already, but she does have capacity this sprint. So I'm going to go ahead and say assign to 𝗦𝗀. 𝗦𝗲𝗀 will take that, update the work item, and then share an updated link with me. So now that work item has been assigned with 𝗦𝗀. So now later that day, I have my team stand up. So we're going to go in a meeting now, and I want to just let the team know, hey, I reassigned some work. So here I'm in my meeting. First thing you're going to see on the right-hand side, there is this new pane. This is something we recently shipped. If you want to have one-on-one conversations with your agents in a meeting, you can now do that. This is in preview. Think of this like having a sidebar with someone when you're in a meeting, something we often do. Well, now you can do it with agents right here in context. And from here, I can just check that the item still looks good, things are up to date. I can see the item there, works good, and then I can easily add 𝗲𝗀 to the meeting with everyone else from here. So I'll add 𝗲𝗀 to the meeting, and now I want to actually update my team. So I'm going to say, 𝗲𝗀, can you share that item I assigned the KO and also assign Aaron as the PM? 𝗲𝗀 is going to go ahead, pull the item, assign Aaron as the PM, and then share it with the whole team. So what we just did here was we found out that we're not on track. We found some work items that weren't on track for the sprint. We figured out who has capacity to get these things done. We assigned it to them, and then we met with the team and updated them. Before having an agent, it would be something that I have to do a lot of context switching. You got to go between Teams, the browser, whatever tool you're using for work item management. Then I have to probably query my whole team and GitHub or ADO or wherever I'm doing work item tracking, figure out who has capacity this sprint, get these things assigned. There's a lot of context switching for me, a lot of overhead. But with 𝗲𝗀 on the team, you can see that I was able to delegate a lot of that work. I never had to open the browser. I never had to manually figure out who has capacity. 𝗲𝗀 did all of that. I kind of leaned on my virtual teammate here to do all that for me. Now, everything we just looked at was on desktop, but you should know that all of these capabilities also work on mobile. This is something that just comes for free by building on Teams. I don't know if you've ever managed your team's backlog on mobile. It's not something you particularly probably want to do. It's not very fun. But with 𝗲𝗀 on my team as an agent, it's much easier. I can just give it a call. I can do all of these things on the phone on my way to work. This entire scenario I could have done on my commute, which is pretty powerful. Another thing I want to call out about the UX layer is adaptive cards. So you saw a couple of these in the 𝗲𝗀 demo. We just saw some in 𝗲𝗀. If you are building an agent that is going to send anything beyond plain text, then adaptive cards is what you're going to want to look into. This is pretty much the gold standard when it comes to sending rich, interactive content in Teams. And in this past year, we've shipped a ton of new capabilities for these adaptive cards. You can do things now like add charts. You can send videos in your adaptive cards. You can put ratings in your adaptive cards. So they're much more powerful now. And it's an area we continue to invest in heavily. We also launched a new site that helps you design and build your adaptive cards that Vikram's going to share at the end of this session. OK, so that covers the experience layer, how your users interact, what kind of content they send, any new UX capabilities you want to enable. But now we're going to go a layer deeper. So if you want to build a useful agent, it's more than just how they talk. It's about what they can do, what can they contribute to my team. And this next layer, skills and capabilities, is where all your business logic is. This is where the agents really get their power. It's where they take actions, all the orchestration happens. It's how they talk to other agents. And thanks to a lot of the recent updates and work we've done this past year, it's so easy to take advantage of all these capabilities. So let's start by talking about orchestration and skills. So unlike most other agent builders, with the Teams AI library, you have full control over orchestration. This means your agent is not locked into a single execution model. You decide how it reasons, how it's going to call skills, how plans are formed. It's all up to you. And you can integrate other tools as well. You could integrate things like LangChain or build auto-gen style flows, do really custom stuff with orchestration. And this is pretty key because agents are not one size fits all. We talk to a lot of customers, and we hear this every day. There's a lot of really innovative ideas out there on how to build agents, and a lot of them require custom orchestration. So if you're trying to do things like integrating in meetings to summarize your customer calls, or you want to build an agent that coordinates task assignments across all your chats and channels, this is what you're going to want to use, something like this that you can really customize and control. Now let's talk about MCP. This is something we recently launched in the Teams AI library. You probably heard about this in the keynotes today, and I think it was mentioned yesterday as well. With one line of code, MCP gives your agent a standard, secure way to connect to external tools, APIs, systems. You could connect to a CRM, calendar service, document store, whatever you want. Someone came to our booth today and was asking about how to connect to on-premise data. This would be a way to do it. It makes your agent way more powerful without making your code any more complex. And that's because until now, every time you want to add a skill to your agent, it requires a lot of custom plumbing. It's like a bespoke integration for every skill you have to build and include in your agent. But with MCP, you really just have to connect the MCP server, any skills under that, the agent will orchestrate over. Now you can dynamically update your skill set. You can add skills later without having to republish your agent. So it's a really powerful tool. And if you're building an agent that you want to take advantage of a lot of skills, or you have a dynamic set of skills, this is what you're going to want to use. The other really exciting thing we're going to talk about is agent-to-agent protocol. So this was in today's keynote. There was a cool demo with this. So agents and teams, since launch, have always been able to talk to people. But now with native support for the agent-to-agent protocol, they can talk to each other. And this isn't just agents and teams. They can talk to agents anywhere that support this protocol. So this means an agent doesn't need to do everything by itself anymore. They can start to delegate to other agents. They can coordinate tasks, pull in expertise from across the org. This unlocks a much more realistic way of work. It's how we work. For example, today I was at, we have a booth upstairs, and today I got a question about an agentic meeting feature. And this is Vikram's area. This isn't mine, and I wasn't sure when it was going to be released. I was asked, when will this feature be released? So I was messaging him. And he responded something like soon, which wasn't helpful. But the point is, this is how we work. We lean on others for their expertise and their skills and their knowledge. And now with agent-to-agent support, our agents can work this way as well. OK, so that wraps up these two top layers, experience and skills. Now I'm going to hand off to Vikram. He's going to walk us through the rest. Yeah.
Hi, everyone. Mic check. Second half of the last session of a very long day. Best time for me to come and speak. Hopefully, we have enough exciting content to keep your minds away from all the bars you plan to hit at Cap Hill after this. But let's go over the last two layers of the stack that Gino introduced. First up is knowledge. Now, his skills, what he was just talking about, inform the agent of all the actions the agent can take. Knowledge is what fuels those actions to be very relevant for the user. And by knowledge, we just don't mean the data. We mean the entire user and organization's context that the agent can leverage to really address the user's query. If there's a business agent, I ask the agent, can I expense $150 of the lunch I had with the client yesterday? The agent will know my calendar access and knows who was the client I went to lunch with yesterday. It has access to the expense policy in SharePoint. It can now combine these two together and give me a simple yes or no without me having to go through all the different links myself. And this is where the Teams AI library really shines. It just provides a simple abstraction layer that you can use to connect to any information source where your business information is stored, be that via the Azure AI Search, SharePoint, or just good old Microsoft Graph. Today, we're really excited to announce 3 new releases in this area. First is the Meeting AI Insights API. This provides critical information from meeting conversations like action items, follow-ups, and notes directly through a Graph API. Second is Copilot Retrieval, which you can think of as vector-based semantic search across your entire organization's knowledge base, so you don't have to build your own custom LLM pipelines. The third is memory, which is our new AI library comes pre-built with a dedicated memory module so that you can save critical information about a user across chats. Now, I'm going to go deep in all three of these in a bit, but I just wanted to say that these are only new additions to a lot of stuff that the AI library already provides. The library already has access to the meeting transcripts, messages, files, roster, all of the stuff that you can use to train an agent that is well-informed, knows where the information lies about a company, and knows how to use it. First one is Meeting AI Insights API. Now, every time a meeting is transcribed or recorded in Microsoft Teams, and it has M365 Copilot licensed users, we at Microsoft create detailed summaries of the meeting. These summaries include action items, detailed notes, and anything related to these notes and action items that was talked in the conversation. Microsoft doesn't just use the raw transcript of the meeting. We also use the peripheral information about the meeting context, like tenant dictionary or user identities, to create these summaries. And now, through the API, you can get access to the same summaries that we've created. In fact, you as developer do not have to pay any additional cost to access these, since we've already generated these summaries. As long as the end user has a Copilot license, you as a developer can get this for free. This is really, really powerful in bringing efficiencies for agents and especially for organizations that are very focused on doing the collaboration on Teams meetings. Tying it back to the UX that Gino walked us through, if the agent joins as a virtual teammate, now it can really understand what happened in the meeting and spin off actions to do the follow-ups themselves of whatever was discussed in the meeting. They could actually scoop out all the meeting summary and put it in a system of record like a CRM. One of the most interesting and innovative things that I saw one of our beta launch partners of this API do is that they connected the transcripts and the summaries from different customer meetings into a single meta insights sort of a graph, and now they could track customer ask trends at an org level. This API is now available in public preview, and I'm really looking forward to see how developers like yourselves are going to start using this. How it works is, as I said, whenever a meeting is transcribed or recorded, an insight artifact is created for that particular meeting. So the developer can call the list API to get a list of all the artifacts related to this particular meeting instance, and then just use the get API to get the details of that particular insight. As I said, it includes the meeting notes, including any subpoints related to the overall note that was discussed in the meeting. It includes the action items, including who was assigned that item as part of the conversation. And lastly, it also includes all the different times in the meeting that someone was called out and who called them out. The second API that we have is a Copilot Retrieval API. This is a vector-based semantic search across your organization's knowledge. And this knowledge base can exist anywhere. It can either exist on the Microsoft Graph or even outside in external systems like SAP or Salesforce, which you can connect through the Copilot connectors. Now, you could build a lot of custom infrastructure yourself, get access pipelines to all these different sources, and maintain, maybe train your own embeddings, and then create a semantic search on those embeddings. Or you could just use this API directly. The way this works is that you provide the query string of what the user uttered. You can also provide some KQL query to optimize the scope of the path where you want us to search for. And in response, the API not only provides a list of all the relevant documents in your company's knowledge base for that particular user utterance, we also extract the most relevant part of those documents that you can use to construct your answers. We also provide additional metadata like sensitivity labels, so you know how to handle these different data items that you've received from the API. This is really powerful for enterprise RAG scenarios. If you're building a Copilot or your internal Copilots that iterate on scattered information, building an IT help desk or an HR help desk, this API can bring you from 0 to 1 from in a very fast mode. Now, in practice, as the agent starts talking to the user, they start learning about critical information, not only through the APIs that we just discussed, but also through the user's own inputs. And it's been a magical experience to see the agents get the information, retain the information, and recall it elsewhere across chats. That is what the industry has started calling memory. And even outside of Teams and just as consumers of AI products, it's become very evident to us the upgraded experience that we get whenever an agent has implemented memory. For example, if there's a travel booking agent and I've already provided preferences that I like red-eye flights and non-smoking rooms, then the agent should be providing the results and optimizing them already for those preferences without me having to express that again. Even within Teams, as Gino was talking about as virtual teammates, the fact that we are introducing the concept of or treating these agents as virtual teammates, it makes memory more important. Every time I add Gino to a chat where I need his help, he's not asking, hey, what team are we working at? What are we doing? What is our manager? What are the priorities for fiscal year? He has learned about those details through our past interactions and recalls them when required. That is what we believe users have already learned through human teammates and is something that they're going to start expecting with agents as well. Let's actually see an agent experience which has implemented the experience that users get before and after the memory has been implemented. Now, this is a regular customer service agent. The first part of the video does not have memory implemented. So the user has some issues with the device, and the agent needs information like the laptop type and the OS that they have. Only after getting those details can it provide a relevant answer to the user's query. Now, cut to another day. Again, memory has not been implemented. User has another problem with their device. The user asks the question, and the agent, because it does not remember the answers from before, is going to ask the exact same clarifying questions to the user. The user has to type that in. We get very similar back and forth before the answer comes back to the user about the query. Now, let's see an agent which has actually implemented memory. So another day, another problem. The user types in the query. This time, because the agent has implemented memory, it remembers the user's device details and just surfaces them again for reconfirmation. The user says, yes, they are the same, and the answer comes immediately. What you would have noticed is that the time to answer for the scenario where the user had memory, or the agent had memory, was significantly faster. The overhead on the user was something that was significantly less. This is what the AI library is also focusing on. Our aim is to make the technology to implement memory as easy as possible for developers like yourselves. Because quite frankly, we want every Teams user who's using agents to have that same upgraded experience that we talked about. Now, with the AI library, you can get memory in three simple ways. In three simple ways. It's not supposed to be complicated. The first one is automatic memory extraction. What you do is developer defines a list of relevant topics, and the system will automatically extract all the relevant details of those topics without having, as the user and the agent are exchanging messages, the details will automatically be extracted. Second one is working memory. This is basically a list of all your recent conversations that the agent can retain so that it has immediate context. Here, as a developer, you provide the context window that you want the agent to retain. Lastly is the long-term memory storage. This is more persistent and is powered by AI Azure Search. What you can do here is to store the critical informations in a more persistent long-term based storage. This is passed as a tool as an explicit tool to the LLM call. The working memory is added as part of the prompt before the functional loop to the call LLM is made. The automatic memory extraction happens behind the scenes, and AI library takes care of those themselves. That takes us to the deepest part of the stack, foundational models. Now, while all the samples that you would see for the library come pre-written with Azure OpenAI and works really well with Azure OpenAI, but you actually have the option to replace and swap out those with any model of your choice. You could go to AI Foundry, you could go to Hugging Face, you could choose a combination of LLMs, SLMs, whatever is the model for your scenario, you could use that in the AI library. And this is a common theme across this stack. The entire library and each of these layers come with powerful defaults that you can just go run with. Or you could, each layer also comes with the flexibility that you can swap out an implementation with a component that suits your scenario. This balance between flexibility and powerful defaults is what we feel will make the lives of developers like yourselves much easier while building agents and teams. Now, if you're wondering where to start and how to get from idea to production, I've got some great news. Today, we're launching the Accelerator Templates Gallery. These are a bunch of open source projects that are tailored for your journey to building agents and teams. All of these templates come pre-built with, they encompass a lot of day-to-day scenarios like dev experiences and customer service, but also include things like memory, MCP, that you can use to simplify your production, your time to production. These templates are written in popular languages like .NET, JavaScript, and you can also come with detailed documentation that you can use to adapt to your scenario. So if you're wondering where to get started, I would say 𝗦𝗲𝗀 02 agent is the place where you want to head to start your journey on Teams. In fact, let's go to VS Code and actually try one of these templates ourselves. Gino, I'll need you to open it. Live demo. Thank you. All right. Now we're in the VS Code that Gino had already started his initial demo. Let's close that process, go a step back. Now I'm going to create one more project. Let's use the command teams new. We'll use TypeScript. Let's call it the build agent new, and then call it the template. And let's actually use the MCP client because that seems to be something that everyone's talking about these days. So let's use the MCP client template. And as I hit enter, what you would see is this new agent. Now this new project has all the lines of code written for you to have a functional agent in Teams. If you look at the app package folder, this already has the PNG files as well as the Teams JSON file, which is required for you to have a regular agent. And all the magic for the business logic for your agent lies in index.tx. This is where we're going to define how you call the LLM, what kind of plugins you use, and then what kind of business logic is added to it. Now, we'll get to these details, but let's hit our install so that we can npm build agent new. Perfect. npm install. Now, while it's installing, let's look at a few important things. First up, this is a bring your own key model. So you have to provide the key that you use. This is the section that is used to provide the LLM call. Now, the template already wrote the call for LLM over here. The section over here, these 4 or 5 lines of code define what the agent will do when they receive the message. This is abstracting out a lot of information that earlier used to require to interact with the Teams client. This is a simple pass-through right now. So any message that the agent receives is passed to the LLM. Any agent that the LLM receives is passed to back to the client. But any custom logic that you wanted to add can be added in these sections. Now, because we use the MCP client, what is happening over here is that the library and the template have pre-written the lines of code that I need to install the MCP to my agent. We also provide this placeholder URL, which we'll swap out in a bit. But essentially, these lines of code are basically what you need to interact with any MCP that's hosted remotely. The library handles all the orchestration between the agent and the MCP server themselves. Now, I am really happy to be at Build this year, and it looks like you've not been to Build unless you make a LinkedIn post about it. I've not made a post yet. So let's use the MCP server for LinkedIn to make a live post today. I'm using a 𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀's LinkedIn server. I'll head back to my TS and replace my URL over here. I also have the environment file that has my details for the OpenAI key. I'll move it back to this package. And let's tempt the demo gods and do. OK. Let's open this. And because we're using the code spaces, we just need to add this back. OK, now this is a simulation environment where everything that this simulates the regular Teams messaging environment. So anything over here is what you'll also see in Teams. Let's say, hello, please help me write a LinkedIn post celebrating MS Build. All right. Now, because this is a pass-through, it gets all the messages and passes out to the OpenAI that I have that I've linked to my account, and then it'll come back with the details of, hopefully, of a LinkedIn post that you can make. This is something that they've created. The language looks good. Let's ask them to post it. Looks good. And it has been created. Now, I have my LinkedIn profile on another device. Let's hit refresh and see if the post was created. All right. So the post was created. Now, exciting times that needs to build. That was easy. Not complicated. But that's it. That is the accelerator gallery. What this does is it provides you something that you can go from 0 to 1 ASAP. This template gallery is going to keep on improving. Right now, we have things like MCP memory already built in, but we are planning to keep on making updates and already have things like meetings, task workflows, and A2A lined up. So please stay tuned for those updates. Now, over the past few months, we've been working with a lot of AI-forward companies, beta testing a lot of the stuff that Gino and I walked through today. We've been working with them is building collaborative agents teams that are making real, measurable impact for our Teams users. And today, we want to spend a time to celebrate those, those scenarios that partners have made. First up is Protégé by LexisNexis. LexisNexis builds agents for folks in legal and business professionals. This is an agent that's available in Teams today. Let's roll the video.
Protégé in Microsoft Teams facilitates collaboration by providing a centralized platform where all stakeholders can communicate, share documents, and track progress in real time. Just as you would invite a trusted colleague with subject matter expertise to join the conversation, LexisNexis Protégé can be added to group chats and meetings. Protégé joins the conversation, responding to specific questions and directions. In this example, Protégé quickly identifies clauses and outlines provisions in the M&A agreement that are not pro-buyer. Next, Protégé is asked to analyze key provisions. It sets out detailed procedures for prepayment calculations and dispute resolution. Protégé joins the conversation, responding to specific questions and directions, then intelligently redrafts the indemnity clause to favor buyers using trusted internal documents through secure DMS integration. The team can review and amend the agreement in real time during their Teams meeting. The agreement is ready for signature. Invite Protégé to your next meeting and experience the power of a personalized legal AI assistant in Microsoft Teams.
All of what we've been working on is available both on desktop as well as mobile. And folks at LexisNexis have also done the same stuff. And there's a video for them, from them on how the Protégé works on mobile. So I'll roll the next one.
Legal work doesn't wait. Critical decisions follow you, and now so does your assistant. Meet LexisNexis Protégé, your personalized AI-powered assistant that transforms everyday legal and business workflows into seamless, streamlined, intelligent experiences. Imagine being the senior partner at a law firm overseeing a high-stakes, critical lease agreement review. Protégé can be added to the conversation to act like a legal subject matter expert. Protégé facilitates collaboration by functioning as a real-time, AI-powered teammate. Protégé isn't just smart. It's tailored to your data, your jurisdiction, your firm's standards. It responds to specific queries, provides direction, identifies clauses instantly, and breaks it down into actionable insights. From clause extraction to legal interpretation to instant summarization, add Protégé in your future group chats and empower the team to work faster and smarter, right where they are, in Microsoft Teams Mobile.
Nice. The next one that I have is from Zoho. Now, Zoho is one of the most famous project management softwares out there. They have an agent that's focused on the meeting scenario. The way that works is when the user joins the meeting, they can go to the Plus apps and add an agent for their personal use. Now, all messages that are sent in this side panel are private. No other participant can see the messages that I'm sending to Zoho in this particular scenario. This is very useful, not just for these project management scenarios, but also for other scenarios like sales and legal, where you may not want the other participants to know the back and forth that you're having with the agent. User sends these messages. The answers come back both in terms of the text, and they can also use adaptive cards over here for the citations. So you understand the sources where they're coming from. Now, using the citations, the user moved to a browser just to know the exact source of where the answer was coming from. After a while, they want to introduce the agent to the meeting for more public interactions. Now, all messages that have been sent in the meeting chat to Protégé are available for everyone. So these systems in meetings, as you know and said, we've recently added, support both private interactions with the agent as well as public interactions in the meeting chat. And that's what Zoho implemented with our collaboration. The last one I have is from 𝗬𝗀𝗀. They are also a DevOps. They are also operate in the DevOps domain. I'll roll the video.
As an engineer, I jump into our on-call channel on Teams. To be honest, I'm a bit panicked since one of our core services on staging went down. I'm going ahead and typing a message that the checkout service has been throwing 500 errors. Normally, I sit and hope that somebody will pick this up. But here, you can see 𝗬𝗀𝗀's team agent answers instantly, just like another engineer on duty. The agent asks if I'd like to check the logs, so I type yes in order to proceed because the agent is wired to our entire stack, which includes GitHub, Azure, Kubernetes, and our core infrastructure. It is able to connect to those systems, gather the relevant context, and run the necessary operations in order to find out the root cause of the problem. In just a bit, we can see that the agent spotted the packet. Every error is tied back to a specific commit authored by 𝗦𝗲𝗀, another engineer. Here, it found the suspicious commits on GitHub and is suggesting to either reverting the recent deployment or implementing a fix. We can see that 𝗦𝗀𝗀 typed that it's his bad and is asking the agent to revert. From the same thread context, you are able to see the agent is capable of reverting the PR while also highlighting the relevant reason for rolling back. Since we are on the Teams channel, everyone can see it. We can see the agent was able to revert the pull request and actually perform the redeployment. It even went as far as suggesting to assist in merging the pull request. From the first alert to full recovery, all in under a minute and without leaving Microsoft Teams. 𝗬𝗀𝗀 can also join the engineers in a Teams meeting to provide error resolution details and live assistance during the call.
Now, if you want to build your own scenarios for DevOps, the template gallery that I shared earlier has access to DevOps agent, so you could build your own version of 𝗦𝗲𝗀 from day one without 0 lines of code. These are some important resources, the links to stuff that Gino and I talked about today. We also have a private preview program that we're starting. This is a QR code to sign up for that event. This will help you, give you an opportunity to give us feedback, get directly connected to the product team to answer your questions, and also get access to these features before everyone else does in the public. There are also two related sessions for the stuff that we talked about today. One is a lab tomorrow at 1 p.m. This will go through the entire scenarios of building an agent for Teams in less than 30 seconds. And then there's another breakout session tomorrow early morning at 9 a.m. that uses the agent SDK so that you can build your agents for 𝗦𝗲𝗀 Copilot. That's all we had for today. Thank you so much for your time. We'll be hanging around and thank you. We'll be around if you want to ask any questions.